Do you like stories? If so, sit back and listen. Once upon a time, there lived a very poor man. His poverty weighed so heavily on him that, despite his efforts, he couldn't buy his wife new clothes or provide basic household needs. One day, he decided to leave his hometown to work in distant lands and earn enough money to change his fate. He worked for years, saved diligently, and finally managed to collect 3,000 coins. He thought, this will be enough for the rest of our lives. So, he began his journey back home to reunite with his wife. As he traveled through a large city, he came across a man shouting, "One piece of advice for 1,000 coins." The poor man thought to himself, how could advice cost 1,000 coins? I worked for years and only managed to save 3,000. Although it seemed foolish, his curiosity got the better of him and he decided to spend 1,000 coins to hear the advice. The man told him, whatever is destined will happen. Angered, the poor man thought, I spent 1,000 coins on this nonsense? But the man reminded him of their deal. There were no refunds. Continuing on his journey, the poor man came across another person selling advice for 1,000 coins. At first, he vowed not to fall for it again, but curiosity overcame him once more, and he purchased the second piece of advice. This time, the advice was, the one your heart loves is the most beautiful. Feeling a mix of regret and acceptance, the poor man reassured himself that the remaining 1,000 coins would still suffice. As he neared the outskirts of the city, he encountered yet another man selling advice for 1,000 coins. Although he tried to ignore it, his curiosity wouldn't let go. In the end, he spent his last 1,000 coins on the final piece of advice, which was, nothing good comes from rushing. Now penniless, the man continued his journey home, thinking, at least I'll get to see my wife, even if I have no money left. Along the way, he encountered a group of people in distress. They explained that a monster had taken over the city's well, preventing access to water. Several people had tried to defeat the monster but failed. The poor man remembered the first piece of advice. Whatever is destined will happen. Trusting his fate, he bravely descended into the well. Inside, the monster confronted him, offering him a challenge. The monster held up two images, one of a beautiful woman and the other of a frog, and asked, which one is more beautiful? Recalling the second piece of advice, the man answered, the one your heart loves is the most beautiful. This pleased the monster, as it was secretly in love with the frog. Grateful, the monster released the man and allowed water to flow back to the city. The townspeople, overjoyed, hailed him as a hero and rewarded him with gold equal to his body weight. The man finally reached home, full of excitement to reunite with his wife. Peeking through the window, however, he saw his wife sitting close to a young man. Enraged, he drew his sword, ready to act on impulse. But just as he was about to enter, he remembered the third piece of advice. Nothing good comes from rushing. He put his sword back and entered calmly. Upon seeing him, his wife embraced him with joy and introduced the young man. This is your son. I was pregnant when you left, and this is our child. The man felt overwhelming relief, grateful that he had followed the advice. He learned that wisdom and patience are more valuable than wealth. The story concludes with a reminder. Good advice is worth more than gold and can save not just a lifetime, but an eternity.